In the next 10 years, 67% of the biodiversity of the planet that existed in 1970 will have disappeared. That's a rate of extinction faster than that which took the dinosaurs out.
Scientists have issued their starkest warning yet about the danger of climate change. Just to stay on track would require rapid, far-reaching and unprecedented changes to all aspects of society.
We're in a time of crisis right now, like real crisis. I can be like scared and my rational brain can go, things are not going the right way. And then I can go, and what am I gonna do? And I believe that I can make a difference. I believe that everyone can make a difference.
The state of the world really challenges me and challenges other young people to develop our inner and outer capacity to be with what really is. I think what we're really called to do is to relate to what's happening and then, create lives that respond to that in a way that's in line with our values and what we care about.
So I think one of the most important things we have to do in this moment is to keep having faith that we can make a change, that we can make a difference, so that the world in which we want to live, we start to manifest it in every one of our acts. That everything we do is with the projection of doing it for the next 7 generations.
The transition we need to make needs to include every person on the planet. It's not going to be made by an elite, it's not going to be made by one group over another group. It has to be everyone together.
I believe that we don't need as humanity one thing in order to face the climate change and the crisis that this is bringing about, but we need loads of different skills, loads of different tools, loads of different changes and transformation.
All of the inner work related to being more open, compassionate, caring, clear human being, more responsible. And then also lots of skills, from like gardening and natural building to cooking food, to learning, what's healthy, to ecology, to social technologies and meetings and how to collaborate. So I think all of those different skills are part of what I am curious to learn in order to be able to really create a different, more regenerative way of living on the planet. And for me, it's really based on connection. Connection with myself, connection with other people, and connection to, all of the living beings and the nature around us.
Building a sustainable culture for the future. And we don't have 1,000 years to do that in. We don't have hundreds of years to do that in. We've got to do it really fast. Welcome to the most exciting time in human history.
I moved to live in my first eco-community when I was 16 years old. And it really opened my perspective to not just see all of the problems and issues we were having in the world, but also more of the solutions.
This is like the big research that we have in Tamara, is how do you create a new culture that is based in cooperation, and that's cooperation with other beings, with humans, also with animals, with the plant world, with all life. A new culture where people start to be able to see and trust each other again.
It's an alternative that brings hope. It's an alternative that brings experimentation and therefore new possibilities, new options, new opportunities, like being sustainable through ecology, through a social, healthy living and communication and collaboration, a different type of economy and exchange, and in respect of the world and of the planets.
Eco-village being places that provide very practical, tangible solutions for the shifting world, or very practical, tangible solutions for just living differently.
Eco-villages are laboratories for the future. That is where the new ways are being experimented with right now. Alternative energies, alternative food production systems, alternative education, alternative healthcare systems, alternative types of work. There's about 10,000 of them now.
Gen Europe is the European network of ecovillages, an organization that's designed to give voice to the different communities and to also bring us together so we can speak with each other and learn from each other and share what we know and what we've learned over the years to the world.
Gen Europe for me is like a family of so many people who has had similar impulses toward community, toward the value of living in community, the value of regenerative life and solidarity in times of transition.
Gen Europe's place and the whole of Gen is really about empowering people. And it's about going back to your own power.
I think the Global Eco-Village Network is one of the best examples that we're living now to the next generations.
If we look at how humans are existing in the world today, there's isolation, there's people not finding like their basic needs met, both physically, like water, food, and shelter, but also love, sexuality, like family, sense of home, like all of this is being lost because of the breakdown of community. We've forgotten how to live together. If communities of people can't learn how to live together, then it doesn't matter how many ecological solutions you have, it doesn't work.
The social part is like the platform on which everything is taking place. Transformation is taking place. The social is the part where everybody learns about themselves and where as a group you learn together and where you learn so much about humankind, about the potential of humankind. So living together is an incredible tool to learn about yourself and to transform yourself. And I think that this is really the strength of community.
There's nothing strange about any human. Like everything is a human quality. And so often the things that have created a lot of pain and violence and abuse, all these things on the planet are suppressed energies that aren't expressed in a way that is healthy. Like there are healthy ways to express everything, also anger, also sexuality, all of these, when you just cover them up, then they will become unhealthy and create a lot of problems.
Through the discovery of who I am, I can also learn on how to place myself in a group. What do I bring as a quality when I enter in a group? When do I get stuck in a role because I'm used to do that? So for me, when we think about conflict, we need to think about this. What part of me is in conflict with the other person? What part of me got disturbed by an action made by the other person? And therefore also look at the other person and think, aha, you are bringing a part of me. And if I learn to understand inside me what these thing is moving, what this action is moving, what this word that you said is moving, then I learn to understand you better also. I learn to see you not as an enemy, but as someone who is as I am, similar to me, that has similar problems that I have. And so from that kind of level of compassion, empathy, or simply feeling the other person as if you were wearing their shoes, then it's where you can see the person.
Conflicts always arise in communities, that's normal. So we're not afraid of conflict, we welcome conflict. We have a concept that is called the quasi-real, which means that there is no such thing existing as reality, but everything is a quasi-real. It depends on my perception of what's going on. So now we have a different background, we will have a different perception of the same event happening. And that means that also when there is a conflict, of course I'm right, because otherwise there would be no conflict, right? But I know that you're right too, because your reality is as good as my reality. To go out of the paradigm of contrast and to go into a new paradigm which is looking for a solution that works for the two of us.
What conflict really means. There's a mistake about the nature of conflict. We think conflict is like this. But conflict comes from two words in Latin, con and flictus. Con means with or together, and flictus means to strike, so it means to strike together, not strike against. So, the secret there is we need to realize that conflict is a source of creativity.
Forum is the main tool that we use in our community for working through the various issues that come up in the community, the various challenges. Whether that be like working in the kitchen or love relationships, jealousy, and all of these issues need to be moved in a safe space. This is a social tool that involves one person kind of showing whatever topic is alive and going into the center and expressing that with a leader who kind of guides them through a process to speak as honestly and deeply as possible about what is really going on, so that can be seen. And when that happens and that's witnessed by a group of people who are in this process, it's very powerful. And then those people also, some of those people can come in and give mirrors of what they saw. And so instead of the individual just having this kind of stuff in their head, then you get perspective from many different voices of what those people see. And often it might be difficult, but it also is kind of giving steps for how do we shift if there's a big challenge, for example.
At the beginning, we had circles every day, sharing circles where people would express everything that needed to be expressed and needed to be transformed and needed to be included. And that was our material with which we would approach the next day or the next task. Nothing was written. We were just exploring organically our impulse. Then, of course, we did other tools like constellations and like group processes.
And I don't think we can do anything as groups or to care for the earth as long as we cannot see ourselves and see those who are around us. Because if we don't learn to feel the pain that others feel, and we don't learn to also give credit to our own pain, then how can we see the pain of the earth? How can we really make a difference?
We are not separate from the earth is us. The earth is you, the earth is me. We must wake up to hear the suffering of the earth. We must hear within ourselves the sound of the earth crying.
The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. Always thinking about nature as objects. We don't respect them as living beings who recognize that the earth is a living being, that everything that surrounds us is alive and that they need to have the same rights.
Water situation is one of the things that's going to become a major scarce resource in the coming years because of the way that it's treated. Actually, around the world, in most places there is enough water, but because of how humans have dealt with our water resources, it flows off the land and into the ocean very quickly. We are desertifying the planet quite fast, actually, when you do that on a large scale. The temperature is becoming more extreme, and then you have flooding and droughts in combination because they both go with when you don't hold and keep your water on your landscape. Tamara has done this experiment in working with the landscape, designing land features, for example, making small earth dams that catch the water and allow it to filter down into the landscape. Also swales, this is a permaculture design tool, also terracing. All of these are land features that if you implement them, the water lands and has space to filter down into the soil, into the earth, where it can become groundwater, which then comes up naturally in springs. This is the ideal of how water should flow. Implementing these water features is one of the key pieces. Also food, energy, these are the things that we're working to create autonomous human systems that aren't dependent on the larger system of what often is exploiting other places in the world in order to meet those resource needs.
If you want to make a paradise here on the earth, just get 1 hectare and make the paradise there. There are about 400 communities in Russia. More of them are Anastasia villages with a principle to find a way to be self-sufficient and get some knowledge from nature.
What we require to do is to liberate human creativity on a scale that has never before been tried.
In communities, very often there is a solidarity, which is the first principle of economy. In Damanhur, we have had many different economic models, from putting everything together in a big pot and sharing from there, and everybody had a little pocket money for many years, to giving more space to entrepreneurship because people want to create something. We have a complementary currency system since the beginning of Damanhur. First of all, to keep the money inside the circuit and to create services and professionality inside the circuit. Complementary currency also creates this interdependency. It's like a value exchange. So it's my service and my value that I exchange with your service and with your value. And it's very nice to be used because it's like my energy is exchanged with your energy.
We didn't have one set idea about how to work economically. We had what we had. So we put everything at that moment because it was needed, everything. Some people put a lot, other people put less. But we knew that putting the money was a way to put the heart, put the intention, put the commitment. When you have clear the commitment is coming from your heart, everything is fine. When you want something back from that, we start like doubting what we have made. And then is when, for me, starts the weakness in the community. For me, the economical thing, it was totally related to our emotional ecology, more than creating a new pattern of economy. It was how to deal with our thoughts about money, with our emotions around the money. As we were working inside, we would have the reflection outside. As a result of this, we materialized the place. And right now, I think it's a miracle how we were able to invest so much in the materialization of our ideas, of our impulses.
Regenerative community like Solheimar gives more opportunity for individuals with disability to feel their purpose of life. Now it's a community of about 100 people. 45 of them are individuals with disability. And these people live and work in this community. Their life is totally different from a conventional institution that you would see in a city. In Solheimar, you would see that people enjoy their life in the nature, getting involved in artwork and exploring their individuality and their soul.
More and more people are having to flee from their homes, and the living situation of those people is extreme, to say the least. Basic human rights and the water, food, shelter, these things are not guaranteed. And so the idea was to create solutions, regenerative solutions, for the refugee situation in the world today. Blueprint 200 is a project in Tamara where we designed and implemented a camp to demonstrate a functional alternative camp to the standard that's been implemented around the world and doesn't seem to work. Even the UN refugee organization says we are not succeeding. You can grow your own food, you can catch your own water and keep it in the landscape. You can generate your own energy autonomously without having to pull electricity or use fossil fuels. All of these are fully possible. We have all the solutions. It's about integrating them and bringing them together. And this is actually what the Blueprint Alliance is trying to demonstrate, integrated regenerative design, where people, whether it be governments or NGOs, that come and see, here's how one possibility for an alternative to the standard camp and ways to create something that's better for people and planet.
We need to discover wisdom and what wisdom really is. It's putting things into practice that we've tested and that we've reflected upon deeply. And the wisdom helps us overcome fear.
We want to bring these ideas that we've seen functioning within community as experiments for human society over the years in many different ways, share that out into the world.
In Solheimar, we have recently doing a lot of bridging, getting in touch with the public, getting in touch with corporations, and telling them what is Ecovillage is doing. Getting in touch with the Ministry of Education. That building bridge is under process, and I really think that we have to continue that, to be able to connect and create something really beautiful in the future.
The ecovillages themselves are seeing that they can't live separately. They're not a separate part. They're a part of the region. And look what's happened now with UN, 17 goals. We have gone a little towards the mainstream, and the mainstream has come a little towards us through the whole climate change. It's more consciousness education. It's more changing values. And I believe that we can move mountains if we really want to.
And in my opinion, if we learn to export this style, this system, this way of being also in the cities, also in the peripheral areas of a city, that's where we can have many eco-villages, many little neighborhoods that become eco-villages. And again, for me, eco-villages where there are healthy social relationships, healthy ecology, sustainability, and a different type of economy in respect of what you have there in your surrounding, in your context. A place where we expose achievements, results, experimentation that our members' eco-villages have created, have worked on, had made reality. But it's a way to show it to the world, to invite new participants in so that they can also get inspired, feel and live it. But it's also a place where then eco-villagers can exchange among themselves, can find inspiration one from the other.
Now there are amazing courses such as the Eco-Village Design Education courses that are certified by Jen's sister organisation, Gaia Education. There are many eco-villages who offer specific or more focused courses on their own. Other EU-funded opportunities like the European Solidarity Corps positions that many eco-villages run.
One of the things we have is a project that's called Yes to Sustainability, where young people can do a youth exchange in an existing eco-villages and spend about 2 weeks living there, learning different skills, forming a group with all of the people who participate and get a first sense and an impression and immersion in what it means to live in an eco-village. I would really love to see if more young people can be engaged in eco-village lifestyles, in community living, whether that's rural or urban, and then also developing the skills to be really educated in all of those topics and to create their lives, including economic livelihoods around these issues. Because it's not just a hobby, that's our life.